Hi friends, this is Subrat here, and this is the continuation to the indexing and selecting concept. And in this video we are going to discuss about how we can fetch the details from a data frame object by using the iLock technique. So let's start. So let me explain you this concept with examples so it will be clear to understand. So before going into iLock, at first we need to understand what is the full signature of my iLock. So here I stands for integer. So we have already seen with different examples how lock is working. So let us understand how iLock works. So ilocks also take two arguments. The first argument is the starting row index and the ending row index, and the second argument is the starting column index and ending column index. In case of lock, the second argument is the starting column name and the ending column name, but in case of ilock we have second argument as starting column index and ending column index. So here integer signifies we can pass the index position of the columns as an integer value, but in case of lock we have to pass the column names as an argument, but in case of ilock we can pass the indexes of the column values. So let us understand this how iLock works with one example. Suppose this is my employee data frame. You can see this as in tabular format, and I want to fetch all the details from my employee data frame by using iLock technique. So here the first argument is the starting row index and the ending row index here, and the second argument is the starting column index and the ending column index. So here my row starts at 0 and ends at 10. So the actual row index will be the end index minus 1. So here if you have mentioned 10, the actual row index will be 10 minus 1, which is 9. And here you can mention the column index values. That means as here I have 5 columns, then you can mention 0 to 5 over here. 0 1 2 3 4. The actual index will be end index minus 1. Here you have given 5, that's why the end index will be 5 minus 1, which is 4. In this way, by using iLock technique, you can pass the column indexes values, but in case of lock you have to pass the column names. So that is the difference between lock and iLock. So let us see one more example. So here I have mentioned how lock works. In case of lock we have to pass the column names as a second argument, but in case of iLock we can pass the column indexes values, here 0 to 5, here % to 6. And one more difference is, in case of lock the end index will be the end index mentioned in the parameter place. Here my actual end index will be 9 here. So here you can see, as you have mentioned the actual end index as 9, we are getting till 9. Suppose you are changing to 8, you will get till 8. But in case of iLock, the actual end index will be end index minus 1. Here 10 minus 1 is 9. So this is the two major difference between lock and iLock technique. So let us see some other variant of iLock. So if you want to fetch a single row values, then you can use the syntax like this. Then you can pass the single row index as an argument here. So here I have passed 4 as an argument. So here 4 indicates the row index. So in this way you can fetch a single row value. So assigning a scalar value to a row and column. We can also assign a scalar quantity to my row or to my column. So let me execute this from the beginning. This is my data frame. Suppose here in place of fourth row I want to assign 50 as my scalar quantity. So let us see, after executing the employee data frame, you will see the row fourth has been updated with value as 50 over here. In this way you can assign a scalar quantity to a particular row. Suppose you want to assign some value to particular column, then you can use like this. You need to specify the column index as a second parameter, and here you have to specify a column. So the default row index will be 0 and the end index will be the last index of that particular data frame. So here, as I have mentioned only a column index, then it's going to update that particular column only. So how the column index will be calculated? The column index starts from 0, then 1, then 2. In place of income, it's going to update the no income as a value. So here you can see entire income column has been updated with no income as its value. So let us see some different examples. Suppose in a data frame you have randomly indexed order here. So the index is randomly ordered 10, 5, 7, 4, 2, 1, 8, 9, 6 and 5. So displaying row from 0 to 5 irrespective of the column index order. Suppose your column index has randomly ordered and you have used iloc inside that data frame and you want to fetch the rows from 0 to 6. So irrespective of the column order, it is going to fetch from 0 to 6 only. So here you can see the first row has been indexed at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is going to give you output from 10 to 1 here. As I have mentioned 6 as my ending row index, then the actual row index will be 6 minus 1, which is 5 over here. So till 10 to 1 you are going to get the rows as an output. So irrespective of the row indexes, it is going to fetch from top to bottom. So let us see some other variant of my iloc. So you can also use the integer list as an argument to the iloc. So as the first argument you can pass a list, and also in the second argument also you can pass a list. So if you are passing a list, so inside the first list you need to mention what are the rows you want to fetch, and inside the second list you need to mention what are the columns you want to fetch. So here inside the first list I want 3, 4 and 5 rows, that's why it is displaying 3, 4 and 5 rows. And inside the second list I have mentioned 2, 3 and 4 column, that's why it is going to give you 2, 3 and 4 column as an output. So let us see some other variant of iloc. If you haven't mentioned the starting column index and the ending column index, then by default it is going to display you all those columns. So here I have mentioned only the starting row index and the ending row index, and I haven't mentioned the starting column index and the ending column index. In that case, the starting column index will be taken as the first column name and the ending column index will be taken as the last column name. Here you can see the output. It's going to display the output from 0 to 8 and all those columns from person to sex. Let us see in this example we haven't mentioned the starting row index and the ending row index. At that point also the starting row index will considered as the 0 and the ending row will be considered as the last row of your data frame object. So here till 0 to 4 column you want to fetch. Here 4 means 4 minus 1, till 3 you want to go. So person 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns we have fetched and the rows from 0 to 9. Suppose you want to fetch a particular cell value, so you can pass the row index and the column index as an argument. So in row 4 and column 2 I want to fetch the value. So let's see at row 4 here and column 2, 0, 1, 2. So here you are seeing 1 lakh as an output over here. Suppose you have passed a list and inside that list you have mentioned the row index which is not present inside your data frame object, then you will get index error. That means the index is out of bound from your data frame object. But in this case here I have mentioned 12, but in my original data frame I don't have any rows indexed at 12. In this case it is going to work, but if you're passing as a list inside the iloc, then it's not going to work. Here you are directly specifying I want 11 number row, but in your data frame you don't have any row index at 11. But in this case you have specified range of 0 to 12, then in this case it is going to work. till how many rows present inside your data frame, that only going to display. As in my data frame I have only 10 rows, it is going to display me 10 rows as an output. So friends, this is all about how we can use the iloc technique to fetch the details from my data frame object. I hope this concept is clear. If you guys have any doubt regarding this, you can leave a comment under my video. Thank you.